So I've talked about the 3 financial questions I believe everybody is asking. How much is enough? Will I ever have enough? And will it always be enough? Today's video kicks off my series on question number 2, will I ever have enough? So if you've seen some of my past videos, you see that I ran through a scenario for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We determined how much is enough for their retirement was about $1.5 million. Alright, so once we've determined that number, we can take some steps to figure out, will I ever have enough? And tell Mr. and Mrs. Smith what it takes to get to where they want to be. I believe there are 7 core principles you should always follow in your financial life, and to stick to those principles, it's a great strategy. And the first one is going to be simply getting $1,000 in an emergency fund. Studies have shown that most Americans don't have more than $1,000 in their bank. In fact, about 60% of them could not cover an emergency that came up for $1,000. That's crazy. We have to make saving a priority to reach our financial goals. And to do that, you got to start budgeting. You got to have a plan for where your money's going. Now, people hear the word budget and they freak out. They think budget's going to take away all my fun. That's not it. Budget is simply having a plan for where your money's going to go. If you want to work fun into the plan, do it. That's fine. But also make sure that saving is a priority. Now, when you do a budget, you want to make sure it's a zero-based budget. So that means you want income minus expenses to be zero. To create that budget, simply start with what income you got coming in that month. Figure out your expenses, what is going out, and bring that number down to zero. Now you can make saving into that budget, you can bring fun into the budget, but you want it to end up equaling zero. Now again, the goal here is just a small step towards your financial freedom, $1,000 in the bank. Some great tools I've found for budgeting. People can build their own spreadsheets and whatnot, but there's some really awesome apps and software out there. I use mint.com. It's totally free. It keeps a hub of all my finances, assets, liabilities, and my transactions. Also, Every Dollar is an app by Dave Ramsey. They've got a free version, but there's a $99 version that will automatically import your transactions and help you get down to that zero-based budget. Alright, so make saving a priority, get $1,000 in the bank, and then tune in next week for what I believe is step number 2 towards financial freedom, which is paying off all non-mortgage debt. See you then.